What's going on, everyone? Welcome back. Today, I wanted to give the newly released Avalanche Vanilluxe a go in the Go Battle League. This Pokemon I don't think is any good, but I wanted to see for myself what it could do. Honestly, this Pokemon did kind of surprise me today with what it could do. I got a positive day using this team, and it was a lot of fun, so let's get into the battles and see what Vanilluxe can do. Alright, first game of the day, we're using our Vanilluxe as our lead up against a Galarian Wheezing. Now, this matchup is a little bit iffy depending on their moveset, but our opponent actually just swaps out instantly into a Shadow Sableye. I'm not quite sure why they swapped. Likely they do not have Overheat if they instantly swap out here, but I'm going to just do the play where I no-shield everything on my Vanilluxe, go for an Avalanche. You can see just how much damage I take from those moves. I'm a very attack-weighted Pokemon, which is not great to see, but we get a guaranteed shield advantage, and then I can come in with our Shadow Primeape. The thing is, I don't really think at this point that we have a ton of play with Primeape because that Wheezing is still in this game. What I'm going to do instead is try to set up our Gastrodon to win this matchup. Rage Fist is going to be reached. Our opponent can shield this if they want to end up winning Switch, but also if they do let this go, it could mean now our Primeape is going to be able to give a little bit of farm to whatever is in the back. What's going to come in? Probably that Wheezing, but maybe their third Pokemon. They bring in a Guzzlord, and since we have a shield advantage on our Gastrodon, we have just a little bit of play. We know Wheezing's in the back line, and we also know that potentially we can one-shot them if shields go down. It's going to come down to how this Guzzlord is played and to see how our Gastrodon is able to land these moves. Mudslap is going to add up over time. We shield up a Brutal Swing here, and in comes an Earth Power. Is this enough to knock out? Does it draw a shield? What is our opponent going to do? I'm going to go straight for the nuke. Our opponent does let it go, meaning now it's going to be Wheezing up against Gastrodon. It's looking like I might be able to win this game. We no-shield a Brutal Swing. How much damage is this going to do? In comes the attack. It's not even close to enough to putting us into Fairy Wind farm down range, and at this point, Body Slam will be more than enough to put them into a Mud Slap down range. We should be able to tap our phone screen and win this matchup just with raw Fast Pressure at this point. GG to our opponent. That was our first match of the day. We got a win with Vanilluxe. Are you joking me? I guess that's a good omen for what's to come. Next matchup, a Shadow Galarian Wheezing into our Vanilluxe. A very interesting Pokemon to see. Once again, might have access to Avalanche, or rather, Overheat is the move they maybe throw against us that could one-shot us, but since they're the Shadow, even if they had it, they do opt to go straight for the Sludge, and at this point, this is what I want to do with my Vanilluxe. All I do is I no-shield it basically every single time, go for a charge move, get a guaranteed shield advantage, and then try to use my backline to sweep this game. In comes a Furret to counter swap into my Gastrodon. Not exactly the hardest answer to us here, but because I know they have access to Trailblaze, I will shield, although they make a nice swift bait here against our Gastrodon. Mudslap is adding up quite a bit. Earth Power being thrown right now. Do we see a shield from our opponent, or will they just let this go? Earth Power coming through. It does draw a shield from them, and in comes another attack from this Furret. This is going to be a bit of an awkward game because I know well we can farm this down with our Shadow Primeape. There is going to be that Wheezing in the backline that could put in a little bit of work against us depending on what they do. A one-turn lag means we do end up getting denied one extra fast move here. I don't think it's going to matter depending on what they end up doing. We try to go for the Simul Swap. I called that they're going to do a combo play with their Wheezing, but no, they bring in their Azu. Unfortunately, not a lot of play for us there in that endgame. Alright, next matchup, a Claydol into our Astonish using Ice-type Pokemon. Probably one of the few Pokemon in this meta that I'd say is actually a good lead for Vanilluxe, but we see an instant swap out here to a Spiritomb. I don't really have a great counter swap. I mean, I do have my Primeape that can do a decent amount of damage to them, but I'm doing resisted Karate Chops, and they are going to be able to debuff us. So what I'm going to do is the classic play, just sack my Vanilluxe here, go for my Primeape now that I got that shield advantage, and start ramping up with my Rage Fist if I can. Spiritomb, while it does have resisted damage here with the fast moves, you can see Sucker Punch is a very powerful attack. It's still adding up quite a bit over time, and I'm not quite sure this is enough to knock them out here with this Rage Fist. Yeah, not quite enough, and unfortunately, they do reach a charge move right before I can knock them out. Likely going to be a Rock Tomb, but I'm going to shield it up one way or another. Shadow Primeape is a very squishy Pokemon. We do end up getting our attack reset back down to +0 because of the boost and the debuff that we've taken, but that Claydol, when it comes back in, is going to have to deal with our Shadow Primeape with a ton of energy. Rage Fist number 1 being thrown. You can see even at just +0 attack, nearly enough to two-shot, but after this boost, definitely enough to knock out this Claydol. Let's see what our opponent is going to do. In comes Rage Fist. We do see a shield here, which means now it's going to be Gastrodon against the world. What's in the backline? We no-shield the attack. It could be a Rock Tomb bait. Even Ice Beam, though, wouldn't do too much. They do Rock Tomb us, but we survived that move very easily. Must have been a Mud Slap weakness in the backline. GG there to our opponent. We don't even see their third. Next game here, the Morpeko in the lead. Not exactly what you want to see as a Vanilluxe, saying our Astonish damage is resisted. We save swap our Shadow Primeape, and they come in instantly with an Azumarill. This Fairy-type Pokemon is a little bit of a nuisance, knowing that it can absorb our Fast Pressure, as well as our first couple charge moves, but because Shadow Primeape is so spammy, as well as it having the ability to boost its attack over and over again, this matchup is not quite as bad as you might expect it to be. In comes that second Rage Fist. You can see they're already in range where the third one would knock them out, and with my pacing, I think we should be able to flip switch if we want to in this game. Our opponent is overfarming a ton of energy. Actually, no, they probably just reached a charge move now. We're the ones overfarming here with our Primeape just in case they no shield. In comes a Rage Fist. Our opponent does opt to go for the instant throw right before my next Rage Fist. Good counting by them. But at this point, I think we can go for a nice Astonish down with our Vanilluxe. If they swap out, I can swap into my Morpeko, and this might be a good spot to be in. It really depends, though, on what their final Pokemon is going to be. They didn't want to give us a huge energy lead on Vanilluxe. That's fair. Vanilluxe up energy could put in a ton of work against potential backline Pokemon, so we'll see what their final Pokemon is, and likely have to shield up our Gastrodon against this Morpeko, saying a Dark-type Aura Wheel after a debuff would easily knock us out. We do shield up properly here. Our opponent does end up getting Mud Slap down. We have an Earth Power ready to go, and in the backline, a Ferrothorn. This is not the best Pokemon to see, but I think it might still be playable. Earth Power is going to do a decent chunk of damage. I want to swap. I can't swap just yet, so what I'm going to do instead is go for the Body Slam. I know this doesn't do a lot of damage, but what it's going to do is limit how many bullet seeds they can get before I can swap out here, and now I'm going to rely on my Vanilluxe to try to win this game. Our opponent may be miscounting here, or potentially thinking they can get to a charge move. They end up swapping into Azu. They do reach a charge attack. I know I'm squishy, but this is an Azu we're talking about. No matter what they're going to throw, unless it's a Hydro Pump, they don't knock us out. It's an Ice Beam. We have Blizzard on Vanilluxe. This should easily be enough to knock out this Ferrothorn. Somehow, out of nowhere, able to one-shot the Ferrothorn. GG to our opponent. Alright, next game of Vanilluxe and the lead, once again into a Claydol, one of the few lead matchups that Vanilluxe can put in quite a bit of work into without needing any sort of advantage. A safe swap of a Furret, and we bring in our Shadow Primeape. This matchup is a good matchup for our Shadow Primeape, but we have to keep in mind our charge move pressure is very few and far between with these Rage Fists. Ice Punch would do a lot of damage, but I think even if they no-shield this Rage Fist bait here, what I'm going to be fine doing is a 2-shield Karate Chop down, come out of this with so much energy as well as an attack boost to make it so no matter what comes in, they're going to have to invest shields back against us. Once shields are down, I know our Vanilluxe can at the very least potentially land a charge move, which is what I'm playing for right now. I want to get as many shields down as possible, that way our opponent has to make the tough decisions as early as they can. In comes the next Rage Fist here. It is at +1. Our opponent lets it go, does well over 50% of this Claydol's HP. Another Rage Fist already is loaded up. I'm very close to a third Rage Fist against this Pokemon. We see a second no-shield. In the back, though, that is not what you want to see. We were in a good spot for a second here, but unfortunately, since we do have a Mud Slapper and an Astonish user, the Pidgeot is likely the perfect core breaker. It's kind of sad to say that our Ice-type Pokemon here is hard countered by Shadow Pidgeot with just a single shield, but I mean, at this point, it definitely is the case. We are so squishy here that Air Cutter plus Gust is probably enough to knock us out. Maybe they can even Gust us all the way down. They don't go for it here, though, so potentially, maybe, somehow, our Gastrodon can win this game, although I think the only way we win this one is, first of all, avoiding the Air Slash boost, or Air Cutter boost, that is, and then hopefully they throw a move before we throw a Body Slam, but no, they were overfarming so much energy. At this point, I know I'm in Brave Bird range, so I have to throw this Body Slam. It is not quite enough to knock out this Pidgeot. Is unfortunately at a Brave Bird ready to go up against our Gastro, and this is not looking good for us here. Pidgeot is a huge core breaker. GG to our opponent. Next game, Vanilluxe into a Golisopod. Not a great lead matchup here. Honestly, we don't have a great matchup against this on the whole team. We have Astonish, which is neutral into this Pokemon. Our only neutral fast attack is on our Vanilluxe. For some reason, they threw on pretty bad timing there, but that's fine by me. I can no-shield this move one way or another, go for an Avalanche here in just a second, and while this is resisted, this will do a decent chunk of damage, making it so our Gastrodon and Shadow Primeape will have a much less scary Pokemon to deal with in the backline. It's not quite enough here to be able to fast move down before the next charge move, but it is enough to give us quite a few Karate Chops of an energy lead here, and now this Golisopod has been neutralized. Why would you bring in a Cradily into a fighting-type Pokemon up this much energy? I have no idea. I'm going to full send the Rage Fist. We don't have close combat, so we might as well go for it. I haven't even talked about it. I'm running Ice Punch on our Shadow Primeape. That's mainly for the Jump Fluff matchup, maybe some Clodsires as well if you do end up seeing them. Because I have that coverage move here, it could help us potentially against whatever's in the backline, but we'll have to see what our opponent is going to do with this Cradily. In comes yet another Rage Fist. Our opponent does shield it up. I'm going to go for a full Karate Chop down. We are double boosted, maybe just single after a Rock Tomb, but at this point, they have almost no play here. They come in with a Morpeko. This Pokemon is going to have to either shield or be just completely fast move down after this Rage Fist ends up landing. We go for the Ice Punch. I don't even care that they catch the move here. I know we have a Gastrodon in the backline, and if they want to knock out our Primeape before they get completely Karate Chop down, they're going to have to go for a charge move very much instantly here to win this game. With that said, our Gastrodon is still very healthy. It has not even seen the battle yet here. We can go for our Mud Slaps, knock out this Morpeko. This game should be ours. Somehow, once again, Vanilluxe pulls out a win against a very awkward lead. All right, next matchup is a Claydol into our Vanilluxe. Very good lead matchup here. Let's see what our opponent's going to do. An instant safe swap into Charge Bug, and while I do bring in my Gastrodon, I am a little bit worried that this is a pretty obvious bait out of a Mud Slap user. I am going to go for the no shields on these X Scissors, but the thing is about Charge Bug is it is an electric type, right? But it's not an electric type that's completely hard-walled by our Gastrodon. We're only doing neutral damage against them, and the only reason it's a good matchup for us is because we are resisting the fast move pressure. X Scissor is still a very damaging move here, and I think we are close to a two-shot range here from this X-Scissor. Yeah, not quite enough here to knock us out, but that next Volt Switch would be enough. I go for the Parting Body Slam. Let's see what our opponent is going to do. They do let it go. They survive on about 1 HP here. We are going to come in with our Vanilluxe, try to farm all the way down, and use our energy against whatever might be in the back. We do have a shield advantage on our Shadow Primeape, and as we have seen in the past, it's not like Claydol is that good of a matchup for them. But their final Pokemon revealed as a Tinkaton. All right, this is a little bit tricky. Very type damage is going to add up against us pretty quickly, but we have boosting damage with our Rage Fist, as well as a lot of neutral fast food pressure into this Pokemon. If they do stay in this matchup in a pretty good spot, but I wouldn't be surprised to see a Bulldoze and then an instant swap out into a Claydol. And comes that Claydol as we did expect. I have my first Rage Fist ready to go. I have my second one in just a second here. Let's see if our opponent is going to be able to shield one of these, or if at this point they're just going to invest in Tinkaton. I think their best course of action is to invest fully in Tinkaton right now, but I could see the logic in shielding this, getting a guaranteed debuff into our Ice Cream Cone here, and potentially making it so we cannot knock them out with our fast and charge pressure. Rock Tomb does end up lowering our attack stat, but we are going to get a massive Astonish down. I think we can reach a Blizzard. I'm not sure if a debuffed Blizzard, though, is going to be enough damage to knock out this Tinkaton. In comes the Blizzard. How much does this do? It does not quite knock them out here, but we can get one more Astonish. Oh, man, but they knock us out, likely with his Bulldoze. And I don't know if one Karate Chop is enough. I think I'm in one Fairy Wind range. It's going to be so close. We come in. They survive on 1 HP. Very close matchup there. GG to our opponent. All right, next game, another Wheezing. A lot of Wheezing leads today. We'll have to see if our opponent this time is going to go for an Overheat. I'm going to try, once again, just call the moves, try to get some sort of advantage with our Ice Cream Cone Pokemon here. I know we can survive a Sludge or a Brutal Swing. They do go for Sludge. We can survive that on the No Shield, go for an Avalanche, and now see what they want to do. Neutralizing this Wheezing is pretty important because we know our Shadow Primeape does not want to deal with this Pokemon if we can help it. I don't necessarily want to give them this farm down, but I know we can't really swap out. We end up giving a ton of energy over to this Pokemon, but Gastrodon is able to absorb this damage. Depending on their moveset, we hardwall them. If it is Brutal Swing, they have neutral charging pressure against us, but even still, it's not that bad. It ends up coming in as a safe swap, likely meaning our Gastrodon doesn't have a ton of play in the backline. I have no idea what the final Pokemon on their team is going to be, but I think our Shadow Primeape is going to be our win condition. In comes our Ice Punch at this point. They might be in range. It might survive on 1 HP, but they could expect me to be at a close combat as well. They do shield, so now what I have to do is I have to be very careful. There is energy loaded on that Wheezing. I have to make sure to knock out that Wheezing before they can knock us out here with a combo play at some point. Luckily, we can go for an Overfarm here, go for a Rage Fist, and I'm thinking at this point, if I go for a blind Ice Punch, likely they don't expect Ice Punch to be thrown into whatever they're going to bring in. I'm just going to throw it, see what they're going to do. They do bring in the Wheezing. I guess I could have gone for a Rage Fist to boost my attack once again, but this Ice Punch is going to guarantee a knockout as well. Final Pokemon is revealed as a Guzzlord at this point. Our Primeape is already ramped up. They end up top lefting. GG to our opponent. Next game. Oh, yikes, dude, that is not great. We do have neutral Astonish damage here, but we are completely hard-walled on our energy, on our charge moves with our Vanilluxe there, meaning I have to swap out to Shadow Primeape and see what we can do. In comes a Corsola to counter swap into our Shadow Primeape, and while this matchup is going to be a loss for us in the 2 shield, I know I can guarantee 2 shields from them, and I only need to use 1 shield myself with the energy lead that I have, as well as with how spammy this Pokemon is. I don't really know exactly what's going to be in the backline. Obviously, it could be like a Shadow Victory Bell plus Bastiodon. I don't think that duo is really that common anymore, though, so I'm not super sure what this could be in the back. So what I'm going to do is just go for the Rage Fist, get the shield advantage, and hope whatever the final Pokemon is not a Grass type that would hardwall my Gastrodon. Maybe there's a chance that a shield advantage Gastrodon could win this game. Or, you know, in the moment here, maybe I'm thinking I want to go for the farm down. It's a Primeape in the backline. I have Astonish. They knew at this point that my Vanilluxe had almost no play here, but Astonish and Avalanche, enough damage to knock them out. I think at this point, this game might just be ours. While there is a Basti for my Vanilluxe, I know I have my Gastrodon that is hard walls them. They realize at that point, not much they can do, somehow winning that game. All right, next matchup, a Talonflame into our Ice Cream Cone. Oh no, this is the Team Breaker. This is the Pokemon that I have absolutely zero play against, and in comes a Malamar of all things to counter swap into our Shadow Primeape. I do have Rages. I bait at least a close combat. What is our opponent going to do? Unfortunately for us, they no-shield, and they throw right before I do reach another Rages, meaning I do not get a shield advantage here, which maybe if I got a shield advantage, I could have won this game, but because our opponent is playing this so well at this point, I think this is going to be a very uphill battle. With that said, maybe I can get a farm down with our Vanilluxe. I'm going to go for no fast moves here. I want to keep this Malamar as healthy as possible to get as many Astonishes as I can. I'm hoping they go for a Foul Play bait. A superpower lowers their defense stat, meaning I get less Astonishes, which is a very smart play and exactly what they do. Now, I'm not going to have quite enough energy on my Vanilluxe to reach 2 Avalanches before they can knock us out with a charge move here on the Talonflame. I believe at this point they were just 2 Incinerates away from a charge move. I am 1 Astonish away from my next attack. Maybe they get greedy. Maybe they think they can farm me down here. Our opponent, though, they throw instantly on a charge move. This is not looking good for us right now. In comes a Fly. It does knock out our Ice Cream Cone, but we have our Gastron in the backline. Surely the Water type can beat the Fire type. Unfortunately, Gastron is more of a Ground type into a Flyer type. This is the matchup you really don't want to be in. Body Slam, not even enough to knock out. If I had Water Pulse, maybe it would be enough here, but our opponent at this point has back-to-back charge moves, maybe just a Braper, depending on what's in the back and how they want to play it out. Fly comes through. Might as well just top left. We cannot win this game. GG there to our opponent. Didn't even see the third on their team. All right, next matchup. Oh, fantastic lead, right? For our Ice-type Pokemon, surely one of the best leads we could see, right? Unfortunately not. We do end up taking a ton of damage from Acrobatics. I think, though, I should be able to survive this. Go for an Avalanche here and get a shield advantage, which might or not. We lose. GG there to our opponent. That was unfortunate. Next game, a Shadow Ursaring in the lead, much worse lead than that last game. But we are going to try to save swap our Shadow Primeape and see what we can do. In comes a Grumpig. I do have Rage Fist, and since I have a bit of an energy lead, there's a good chance that I can potentially get a shield advantage if I can reach another charge move, but I'm not quite sure what our opponent wants to do. I don't have another hard answer to that Shadow Ursaring that we saw in the lead. I do get a shield advantage, but I don't know. At this point, Shadow Dynamic Punch would one-shot our Vanilluxe here. I can't really shield it, though. It does nothing into that normal-type Pokemon. Yeah, Vanilluxe literally getting 0 damage in this game. Love to see it. All my resources now invested into our Gastrodon. In comes what from our opponent. They're thinking for just a second here. That might mean their final Pokemon might be a little bit weak to Gastron. They might be concerned about what my final Pokemon is here, so we'll see what we can do. In comes a Swift, almost certainly. They're going to get as much fast move and charging pressure into us as they can, and Tinkaton is revealed as their final pick. This Pokemon is a very bulky pick, but Mud Slap as well as Earth Power are both super effective. We do get a shield on that first move here. If I can knock out this Tinkaton with his next Earth Power, I might be able to Mud Slap down the rest of that Shadow Ursaring. I might somehow be able to win this game, despite Vanilluxe literally doing 0 HP of damage in this game. They have back-to-back moves, but I have my Mud Slap coming through right now. All I need to do is shield up this attack, and we should be able to win this game. GG there to our opponent. That was a very interesting match. All right, Vanilluxe into Vanillish, the battle of the ice cream cones. Fun fact, Vanillish is actually bulkier here than Vanilluxe, and I guess also fun fact, they have a much cooler fast move animation than me, but they also have access to Icy Wind, right? Icy Wind is their charge move of choice. I will be able to survive that move up and go for a Blizzard of my own. I'm not sure if I survive this, or rather if they survive this after that debuff, but I will full send here, see what we can do. We actually knock out the Vanillish in the mirror matchup, and we see a Shadow Hippowdon as a Pokemon in the backline. We don't have a great answer to this, and I don't want to give him a huge energy lead. I instantly swap out to our Shadow Primeape, and fortunately for us, they are staying in. We end up landing that move here. It does a critical amount of damage to this Hippowdon. In comes a Scorching Sands. That is going to not debuff our attack stat here, but now their final Pokemon is revealed as an Annihilate. This is going to be a very tricky endgame, depending on their moveset, or depending on if they throw a charge move or not against us. This game is either going to be a win or potentially a loss. Very smart play for them to throw a charge move right now. I'm going to be forced to shield a non-boosted Rage Fist, which means now my Gastrodon is going to have to take a lot of boosted damage. I have no shields remaining, but I absolutely need to get this Rage Fist off to get their final shield. In comes the next counter. At this point, I just have to hope that they are not on close combat. If they do have close combat, they can one-shot us. I think, though, I can survive the Rage Fist and get to an Earth Power, so depending on the moveset, we might be able to win this one. Close combat, though, being thrown, it knocks out our Gastro. Unfortunately, we lose to, I guess, the superior Ice Cream Cone there. GG to our opponent. Next game, that is a massive core breaker to our Vanillix rather duo, as well as our Shadow Primeape. I'm going to try our best here to call a superpower. That is the play of the day. Never shield the Ice Cream Cone. This thing is not that good. You don't want to invest your resources here. So we do end up calling the foul play. And because of this, I think we are able to get a shield advantage or potentially just basically knock them out here, get a Karate Chop down. If that was their answer to fighting type Pokemon, we are in a very good spot. With that said, they end up coming in with a Sire to counter swap to our Shadow Primeape. We go instantly for the Rage Fist, knowing that after a boost to our attack stat, this thing is not going to be able to survive the next Ice Punch, at least not enough to reach 2 charge attacks that can do a 1 shield farm down. Do they expect Ice Punch? No, they don't. Able to nearly one-shot them here. They are able to get 1 charge move off, but that next Karate Chop likely will knock them out. Shadow Primeape is now ramped up. We're able to have a full Rage Fist of energy. They did not want to deal with that. GG to our opponent. Next matchup is a Shadow Abomasnow. All right, Battle of the Ice types. Once again, Energy Ball from this Pokemon would do a lot to us here, but they end up swapping out instantly, so I bring in my Shadow Primeape into the rollout Blastoise. This matchup is pretty interesting. I know that Blastoise is going to be able to basically one-shot us with a Hydro Cannon, but I also know that we resist these rollouts, so potentially either I win this matchup extremely hard, or if we let him move through, I just get one-shot. So of course, that means just double shield Primeape and see what we can do. Our opponent ends up throwing on Alignment here, which is a little bit awkward for us. But one thing I know about Shadow Primeape is it is stupid. This Pokemon is able to farm all the way down here after landing that 1 Rage Fist, meaning now I'm at 100 energy, I'm at +1. They might have 2 shields, but this Azu even does not want to take these charge moves, right? I think I can get 4 Rage Fists off before they can even get to a single charge move here with how spammy Rage Fist plus Karate Chop is. In comes my second Rage Fist. They don't really want to shield this one because they know I'm going to get another one after this. Look at how much damage we're doing here. Even our Karate Chops are adding up. We have back-to-back Rage Fists. They are at the Ice Beam, but I can go on CMP here and either get both shields back or potentially just a knockout and have a +4 Annihilate Primeape rather into that Abomasnow. Obviously, they are forced into shielding that move up here. They will have to throw energy before I can reach another Rage Fist. That is how stupid Shadow Primeape can be. In comes a charge attack here. I know my win condition is very simple. Come in with our Vanilluxe, go for a farm down. At this point, we don't even need our Gastrodon. We win this game with our Ice Cream Cone. In comes Avalanche. This should be enough to knock them out, and we can astonish down the rest of that Azu. Gastrodon not even needing to see the battle in this game. They don't reach a charge move there. We're able to win the game. GG to our opponent. All right, next matchup is an Alolan Sandslash Battle of the Ice-type Pokemon once again. I know if it's on Powder Snow, at least we resist the fast food pressure, but look at my charge moves. I'm running Blizzard, I'm running Avalanche of all things. These moves do absolutely nothing to an Ice and Steel type Pokemon, but I do know that I can try to drain as much energy as possible, maybe set up a nasty Karate Chop down here. They do throw an Ice Punch right before my Blizzard, so I am going to lose a lot of energy, but once again, I'm not shielding this thing. This thing sucks so much. No resources invested here, and in comes a Golisopod. So while Vanillish, or I keep saying the wrong Pokemon, Vanilluxe that is, ended up not doing much this game, what it did do is it forced our opponent into safe swapping this Golisopod, meaning now I get my preferred matchup. Fun fact about Shadow Primeape into Golisopod, the 2-shield matchup, just straight Rage Fist, you win no matter where they end up using their shield, so I'm very happy to see it right now. Our Gastrodon does get to avoid this, in comes a Rage Fist. It will end up knocking out the Golisopod, and what are we going to see come in? Our opponent is thinking for just a second here. I do have a lot of energy. Well, actually, no, I use it all, but I am double boosted. They're just ABA to Gastrodon. I just win this game, right? Yeah, I guess so. GG to our opponent. Our Shadow Primeape putting in a lot of work. Vanilluxe setting up that game, I guess, for us. Next matchup, another Alolan Sandslash. Honestly, I did not like how that previous game ended up playing out, right? I ended up going for just like nothing with our Vanilluxe there. We ended up doing fast food pressure, but then got no charges off. So instead, I'm going to safe swap our Shadow Primeape. They end up bringing in a Mandibuzz here, which means that while we do have Ice Punch to 2-shot them, they might still be able to shield and farm us down with Air Slash. They no-shield, though, on the second move. Unfortunately, they do survive it on 1 HP, but I can still flip Switch Advantage, and because I know I don't want to be in that lead matchup, I can Mudslap down the rest of the way against that, was it the A-Slash in the lead? I should be able to potentially put in a lot more work now that I am able to dictate the switch advantage in this match. In comes a Rage Fist. I think they likely will no-shield this move. I'm not going to give them that farm down here. I don't want them to know my final Pokemon, and at this point, I think that they're going to no-shield this move. They know an Avalanche is extremely resistant, but I am fine by that. I am not planning on throwing a single charge move after throwing this move, because after landing that, this is easily in Mudslap down range. I can Astonish this down as well if they don't throw a second charge attack. We know we survived 1 Drill Run here, so Vanilluxe actually putting in a decent amount of work for once in its life in this game. We can no-shield this attack, Mudslap this down, and while we know Charge Bug can eventually 2-shot a Gastrodon with the Volt Switch damage as well as X Scissor, they are not going to be able to survive long enough to do enough fast food pressure to put me into that range. In comes our Mud Slaps, but their first charge move is reached. They have 2 shields remaining, but it does not matter for them. Our Mud Slaps are going to bypass their shields, meaning now all I need to do is fast move them all the way down, and it looks like this game will be ours. Charger Bug is at back-to-back moves. Even if they could throw them both, though, I think we still survive, and because they can't, we are able to easily win that match. GG to our opponent. Next game, Vanilluxe into a Shadow Blastoise. Not a great lead matchup. Obviously, all of our charge moves being resisted, as well as rollout being super effective, and them outpacing us is all a recipe for disaster. But we safe swap our Shadow Primeape, go for an instant Rage Fist here after 5 of these Karate Chops to throw in good timing as well as to get as much energy as possible. Our opponent, though, throwing a move against us right now. I know we have to shield Shadow into Shadow, easily would knock us out. No reason to let that go. And in the back is a Diggersby, a Pokemon that by no means, at least in my opinion, is an answer to a Shadow Primeape, especially up energy. With that said, they might try to call an attack here. I don't actually have access to the close combat, meaning that this boosted Ice Punch might still not be enough to knock out, but it does put them into a nice Mud Slap downrange. Once again, going to try to dance around in this match. We have seen 2 of our opponent's Pokemon. Now we have seen all 3. In comes a Furret. This is looking pretty awkward for us. I'm going to go for a Body Slam bait here. Let's see if they end up shielding or not. If I do get a shield, potentially I could win this matchup. I have an Ice Punch ready to go on our Shadow Primeape, which could be very helpful for us right now. But we have to keep in mind that Blastoise does have a decent amount of energy as well. Also a decent amount of HP. So if they bring that in, I'm going to have to instantly throw a Charge Move to knock them out. I know if I went for a Body Slam, I don't think it would knock out. It'd be really close. Instead, I go for the full-on Earth Power. This game could be a little bit dicey depending on what they end up doing. I would assume this is a Trailblaze coming through, meaning their attack stat is going to be ramped up. But all I need to do is I just need to reach a single charge move with Vanilluxe. Our fast moves do nothing, but I think that even after a boost, Sucker Punch plus Swift is not enough to knock us out before I can reach a single Avalanche. In comes the Swift. It's going to be close here. Our Vanilluxe is trying its best. We survive on 1 HP. This move should be enough to draw the shield, and we have that Ice Punch once again loaded on our Shadow Annihilate. We can bring it in here. Ice Punch able to knock them out. Shadow Primeape putting in a ton of work. Vanilluxe doing what it needed to do. Get to 1 charge move, just like it's done in the entire video. I don't think there was a single match where we got to 2 charge attacks with Vanilluxe. Either way, though, it doesn't matter. We went positive on the day with this Pokemon. I used this as a meme pick today. I did not think it would work out. We went 13 and 12 with this Pokemon. This thing is not good. You can see the game plan, right? Just always no shield this thing. Try to get a shield advantage if you can with an Avalanche, and then just invest in Shadow Primeape. That was really the start of the show. This should be a Shadow Primeape video, not a Vanilluxe video, but you know, this was the new Pokemon released here today, so might as well give it a showcase and see what it can do. Turns out, not much. Alright, well, thank you so much for watching today's video. If you enjoyed the battles and you want to see more content like this on the channel, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe. It helps out the channel a ton, and I would really appreciate it. Thank you for watching, take care, and I'll see you in the next one.